Okay, guys. Today let's see about AWS EC2. So actually EC2 is nothing but a virtual service which is provided by AWS. Okay. So in case let's assume we have a application. Okay. We have a developer. We have a developer who creates an app. Okay. He creates an app and he has to deploy this application somewhere, right? So we need some server. Okay. We need some server to deploy that application because the end users who will be using this application, they will be accessing it from the server. Okay. So before cloud. Okay. So before cloud, so what used to happen, in case if you want to create an server, then actually you have to purchase an infra. Okay. You have to purchase an infra, then you have to create the VM. Okay. And then you have to manage all the networking, and then hardwares like RAM, CPU, everything has to be managed. Okay. And then in case if something happens to these VMs, again you should go and fix it. And then in case if there is some network issue, then again you have to go and fix it. So it was a tedious task. And in case if it is some big organizations, it is fine. They will purchase their own infra, and they will create VMs, and once the developers are creating the application, they will be deploying it. So in case if some startups or some small companies are there, it is very tough for them to manage the separate infra, because creating an infra and managing it is not so easy, because there will be costs involved for uh, purchasing infra, like buildings, purchasing infra, and then power supply we have to take care, and then we have to take care of hardware components like RAM, hard disk, and then CPU, everything. And then we have to maintain air coolers. Okay. Because when we have more servers, actually it will produce more heat. Okay. But in case if it goes beyond certain amount of heat, then systems may hang, or else it may crash. Okay. So we have to maintain air conditioners, and then we have to manage the networks as well, because if any of the LAN connections is damaged, then we will face a network issue. Then the application which is deployed on the server, it will be failed. Okay. So too many things are there to manage. Okay. But now after cloud, the scenario has changed. Okay. Now you can just go to any of the cloud providers. Okay. We have multiple cloud providers, right? Like AWS, Azure, GCP, IBM, etc. So what you can do, you can just go to the AWS console, and then you can directly go to the EC2, and then you can create any number of instances. Okay. And it is like pay as you go model. Okay. So you can just pay for whatever services you use. So if you see, what are the key features of EC2? Elasticity. So if you see, everything in AWS, it will start with EC2. So what is EC2? EC2 is Elastic Cloud Computing. So we have two C's, that's why we call it as C2. Okay. So Elastic means the infra can be increased and decreased based on the requirement. Okay. That's why we call it elastic. Okay. So if you see, easily scale up or down your compute capacity according to the demand. Okay. In case if your application is getting high traffic, then you can increase the number of compute devices, or else in case if you just it is normal, then you can reduce the compute, and just you pay for whatever you use. Okay. And variety of instance types. Okay. So you can choose a different variety of instance types. Okay. And then we can go as pay as you go pricing. Okay. Only pay for whatever you use. And then we have custom AMIs. So we have many images. Okay. For example, we have Ubuntu, Red Hat, Mac OS, Windows, everything is there. So you can choose whatever operating system you need. So we call it custom AMIs. Okay. Custom AMIs is like you can create your own AMIs. Also we have like many open source um, operating systems as well. And then security. So you can manage your own security using security groups and NACLs. That is also one of the feature. And then the core components are instances. Okay, so you can create instances are nothing but virtual servers. So you can create any number of virtual servers, and you can deploy your applications. And you can it can be launched with custom AMIs. Like you can create your own images, and then you can deploy it. Or else we have many predefined images as well in AWS. We can use those as well. Okay, so AMIs, like Amazon Machine Images. So these are like pre-configured template, so that you can customize based on your requirement, and you can deploy it. Okay, so we will have like Amazon Linux, Ubuntu, Windows servers, etc. And then instance types. Okay, so for example, in case if you are testing in your local environment, then you can go with T2 micro or T2 small. Okay, that is like general purpose. In case if you require an EC2 instance, and it should be like optimized. Compute optimized means like it should be like having like more resources. Then you can go for C. Okay, the compute optimized instances, it will start with C. Okay, and memory optimized. Okay, memory optimized means, for example, if we have like any AI algorithms or AI machines where the large number of data is required, then you have to go with memory optimized instances. Okay, so those things will start with R. Memory means RAM, right? Memory means RAM, right? So it starts with R. Okay, and then storage optimized. For example, if your applications require more amount of storage, or else in case if more in and outs are happening, then you can go with i3 large. I3 large means we can have many, like i3 medium, i3 large, i3 extra large, whatever it is. So you can go with storage optimized resources. And then we have one more thing called EBS. It is elastic block storage. So when we create an VM, we have to attach the storage, right? So we use elastic block storage for creating the storage. So you can create all the configuration files, etc., everything in your VMware. So it can be directly attached with your VMs. And then we have security groups. Okay, security groups are for managing the inbound and outbound rules. Okay, so you can control which users can access the resources, and which resources, which users should be blocked using these security groups. And key pairs. Okay, so in case if you want to connect to the servers in a secure way, you can use key pairs. Okay, so these key pairs will be in your local machine, and using this you will be able to connect. And elastic IPs. So we have discussed this already. So elastic IPs are like constant IP addresses. So when we restart any of the VMs, like EC2 instances, after restarting, the IP address will change. Okay. In case if we want to maintain a constant IP address, then we have to go ahead with the elastic IP. Okay. So what are the key benefits of EC2? Scalability. So you can add or remove instances based on the traffic. In case if you have more traffic, you can add more instances. Otherwise, you can remove it. Okay. Flexibility, like you can choose a variety of operating systems, like whichever operating system you want, like Ubuntu, RHEL, Mac, Windows, whichever you want, you can choose. Okay, and then you can make your own hardware configurations. For example, if you need like 2 GB RAM, or else 16 GB RAM, or 32 GB RAM, you can make your own adjustments. Okay, and then reliability. So you can deploy across multiple availability zones. Even if one availability zone is affected due to natural calamities, or due to some other issue, or like some outages, you can have the connection to other availability zones, so that your application will be available to the users. Okay, and security. Okay, so we have many options available in AWS to manage the security, like security groups, IAMs, and NACLs, everything. So you can configure your own security, so that you can secure your application. And then pricing, this is one of the crucial parts. Okay, so on demand instances. Okay, so pay for compute capacity per hour or second. Okay, so in case if you need some instances immediately, uh, so you can just pay based on that usage. Okay, and then we have reserved instances. And in case you know you are going to use that particular VM for long time, for example like 1 year or 3 year, then you can go for reserved instance. So when you create a reserved instance, then that instance will be with you for like 1 or 3 years, and then you will be charged less amount. Okay, you will get a discount of 30% or 40%. Okay, And spot instances. So the spot instances are like you will bid for, in case if you have some unused instances, it will be allocated, but as soon as it is required by some other users, your resources, like your instance, will be automatically deleted. Okay, in case if you have to test something locally for temporarily, like for 2 hours or 6 hours, you can go for this spot instances. Okay, and then common use cases, so where we will use these things mainly for web applications. So we can host the web servers here, and data processing in case if you have some databases, or else in case if you have like big data servers, then you can use like high intensive EC2 machines, and then it can be used for data processing. And development and testing, so you can create the environments for development and testing and purposes. And machine learning, okay, you can select GPU instances, graphical user interface, graphical with the instances with high graphics for machine learning. Okay, these are the things. And then we have like few services. Okay, so auto scaling, so it will automatically adjust the number of instances. So for example, if you configure the auto scaling, you can manage the minimum and the maximum number of EC2 instances that can be created. So in case if the traffic increases, it will automatically create new instances, otherwise it will delete the instances. And then elastic load balancing, so we have already seen this. So this will be used for distributing the traffic between different EC2 instances. And then Amazon CloudWatch. CloudWatch is for monitoring. Okay, in case if your EC2 instance is having like high memory usage or whatever it is, so you can monitor all the resources related to EC2 using this CloudWatch. Okay, so let's see the EC2 instance. So if you see, this is the AWS console. So here, this is the page for EC2. Okay, so in instances, if you click here, so we don't have any instance. Okay, now in case if you want to launch an instance, just click on launch instance. So here name. Okay, so you can give any name. Okay, and then Amazon machine image. Okay, this is the Amazon machine image. So here you have like many default images. Okay, if you click here, see, we have Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows, Red Hat, SUSE Linux, Debian. So these are like default ones which are given. Browse more AMIs. So if you come here, you see like we have like almost many like you can search in case if you have your own image. Okay, you can just keep it here. Okay, so that in case if you have your own image, you can select from here and you can create. Okay, and then we have AWS marketplace. So AWS marketplace, you can purchase any of the images. Okay, so if you see here, so you can select criteria, free trial, and then standard contract type. So you can choose like in case if you want a free trial only, you can choose this one. And then in case if you want some other like a standard contract type, you can choose this one. And then pricing model. So pricing model, so we have usage based. For example, based on the usage you will pay. In case if you are going to pay based on usage, then you can select this one. Okay, otherwise upfront commitment, you have to pay beforehand some amount, later you can pay remaining. And then we have free pricing model. Similarly, if you see, we have different operating systems: Palo Alto, Fortnite, Cisco, Qualys. So all these are provided by them. Okay, F5. This F5 we have load balancer as well. Okay, and then Zscaler. So these are like images. Okay, in case if you want any specific one from marketplace, you can select this one. Okay, and my AMIs here, you will have the AMIs which was created by you. Okay, and then quick start. So these are the OSs which are provided by default. Okay, so you can select anyone and then you can just try to create. Okay, launch instance. So you can select different types of AMIs. And then here we have the architecture. Okay, here we can select like into 86 or ARM, whichever you want, you can select. And then instance type. Okay, if you come to instant type, we have different types of instances. Okay, T2 nano. Okay, it is like 0.5 GB of memory, whereas T2 micro, it is 1 GB of memory. And then T2 small, 2 GB of memory, medium 4 GB. So if you see T2 large, T2 large, it has 8 GB. T2 extra large, it is of 16 GB. Similarly, we have C. C is for compute instance. Okay, in case if we have any of the instances which is like a high compute optimized, then we can select it from here. Okay, we have different options like C5 large, C5 4x large, like with 32 GB RAM, and then C5 metal. Okay, here we have 192 GB RAM memory. So similarly, we have many instances. So based on the requirement, you can choose whichever you want. So if you see, all these are like from compute intense. Come down. So we have M. M is memory intensive. Okay. So we have many options. So based on your requirement, you can choose. Okay. Yeah, we have many. Okay, and this depends on this region as well. Okay, and then key pair. So in case if you want to connect to your instance securely, then you have to create a key pair. Okay, so always try to create this create new key pair, and then you can use to log in. And then network settings. So here we have already seen. So VPC, you can select the VPC. In case if you have to deploy the EC2 instance in any of the specific VPC, you can come and select here. Okay, and then subnets, you can select all the subnets. Like in case if you have to deploy it any of the subnets particularly, you can select that one. And then in case if you have to assign the IP address, you can come and enable. Okay, and then security groups. So you can select existing security group by coming here and selecting. Otherwise, you can create a new one here, and then you can edit the inbound and outbound rules. Okay, and then here you will be able to see all the security groups, everything. Okay, this is how we create. And storage. Okay, here you can increase whatever storage you want. For example, if you want 50 GB, you can just increase. Okay, so like this you can increase. And here we have this is like gp3. Okay, you can go for gp2, io1, io2. Okay, gp3 is latest and it is of high speed. Okay, in case if you want a bit low speed, you can go to gp2 or else io1, whichever you want, you can select. Okay, and then advanced details. So in case if you want to join any of the directory automatically, you can select this, and then you can create a new directory, so that when it logins, it will directly go to that directory. Okay, so instances. So this is how you create instances. So we have seen AMIs and then instant types, everything. And then we have spot instances. Okay, in case if you want in here, if you see spot instance. So what is the use of spot instance? In case if you want any of the instances immediately from the remaining resources, you can create these spot instances. Okay, just you can click on request spot instance, and then here you can, in case if you have a template, like at what configurations you want, you can use the template. So we don't have any template now. If you want, you can create a template. Okay, otherwise you can manually configure the template. So to manually configure, you can select this one, and then AMI, you can select the AMI whichever you want. And then key pair, you can select the key pair of yours, and then you can just give like how many instances you want. For example, here they have selected one. In case if you want 10, if you want 10, you can just create 10. Okay, and then here we have the option to select instance or memory. Okay, you can select memory as well. Here if you select memory, you can have like 10 GB of memory. Okay, and then you have to select the VPC whichever you want, and then availability zone, and then you can just create. Okay, you can launch, and then it will create. Okay, this is for spot instance. And then we have reserved instance. Okay, when you click on reserved instance, you can select platform tenancy, like dedicated. Dedicated means we will have a rack. Okay, in infrastructure, like in AWS infra, you will have a rack. Okay, in rack they will have servers. Okay, all these are servers. Okay, like server 1, server 2, server 3, server 4. So in case if you make it as dedicated, this entire rack will be given to you. Okay, like in case if you are like John, so John will be given this entire rack. Yeah, whether you have like one server or two server, whatever it is, you will be given separate. Otherwise, in case if you are not selecting anything, here it will be related to John. Here some other company like Amazon, it will be deploying. Here Google will be deploying. Here Facebook will be deployed. Like that, they will be assigning based on availability. Okay, so if we come here, here tenancy is default and dedicated. If you select dedicated, you will get the dedicated rack. Okay, and offering class like standard or convertible, they will be providing. And instance type, you can select any instance type you want. and then term. Okay, you can select from 1 month to 12 months, 12 to 36. So in case if you select long term, you will get discounts. Okay, and payment options, like if you don't want to pay any amount in before itself, you can select no upfront. Otherwise you can pay partially, or else everything at starting itself. Okay, so you will get huge discounts in reserved instances. And then dedicated hosts. In case if you want any dedicated hosts to be configured in the racks, you can select this allocate dedicated host, and you can create. Um, and then volumes. Okay, so volumes we have seen, right, to create to attach to that EC2 instances. In case if you want additional volumes, you can just go ahead and create additional volumes. Just you can select GP3, GP2, whatever it is, and then size, and then IOPS, like how much IOPS it's required, input, output you want, and throughput, everything, and then you can just create. Okay, so once you create, you can attach that to the EC2 instance. Okay, and then snapshots. In case if you want to take snapshot of any of your VMs, you can just click on create snapshot, and then volumes are instance. In case if you want to take snapshot of volume, select volume. Otherwise, in case if you to take a snapshot of instance, you can select instance, and you here if you have any instances created, that will be showed here. Okay, and then you can just create snapshot, so that in case if you want to revert to any of the working state, you can revert. Okay, and then you have security groups. Security groups, we will be configuring the input inbound and outbound rules. Okay, so we have one default security group. So here we can configure the inbound. So here they have allowed HTTP, SSH, and HTTPS. In case if you want to configure anything, any other ports, you can just edit the inbound rules, and then we can add. Okay, so in case if you want to enable DNS, just enable 53, and then from anywhere and save. By this way, you will be able to configure security groups. And then load balancers. So these load balancers and all we have already seen. So you can create a load balancer, and you can attach the EC2 instances, and then you will be able to allocate resources, like you can allocate, you can divert the traffic which comes to your load balancer to the different EC2 instances. And then we have to create the target groups for the load balancers. So auto scaling groups. Okay, when you want to create auto scaling groups, so just create auto scaling group, and then you can give a name like AG, and then template. So in case if you don't have template, just create template, right click, open new instance. So here you will be creating, like selecting the minimum and minimum maximum number of EC2 instances. AG template. Okay, so in case if you want like the machines which we create, like um, EC2 instances. For that, it should automatically have the images, right? So you can select the image. For example, if we are selecting a minimum as 1 and maximum as 10, when new instance is created, it should have a operating system, right? So you can select Amazon Linux or whichever you want, and then you can just select the instance type, everything. So T2 Nano or T2 Micro, and then you can select the key pair, and then you can just create launch template. Okay, when you create launch template, then once it is selected, then you can go to next steps, where you can choose instance launch options, everything. Okay, so we can see these practicals later on when we do end-to-end demo. Apart from this, yeah, that's it in EC2. Okay, so just try to practice this thing. It will be pretty easy, because we will be using this thing with each and every component in AWS. Okay.